Hello, everybody. It's your old pal Jerry B here from the Lucero Library. Thank you again for joining us on another installment of the Tales from the Stacks. The last week we were reading the first couple of chapters of Ruby on the Outside, and this is by Nora Rawling Baskin. So we'd like to say special thanks to Simon & Schuster for allowing us to read this book for you. We'd like to say thank you for them as publishers. So without further ado, a small recap. Miss Ruby is dealing with a hard time going to a different school, figuring out the different transitions in her life. She has her mother in a correctional facility, so we learned about that in the first couple of chapters. So without further ado, we'll go on to chapter 3, where hopefully she'll get to know more about her new friend. Chapter 3. I never intentionally missed a visit to see my mother. It's not to say that I haven't been weekends we didn't go, weeks we didn't go, or couldn't go, or someone was sick, or the car wasn't working, or there was a lockdown at the Bedford Hills and we had to wait for hours and never go inside. When she first went to jail before her trial, before she went to Bedford Hills, and we were living up near Saratoga somewhere, I didn't see my mother for 8 months. But since then, I've never willingly turned down a chance to visit my mom. Until just now. Until today. I'm just thinking I can't go with you this time, Matu. I'm saying, but even when the words are coming out of my mouth, I'm regretting them. I feel bad already. But I have to stay home today because I know Kristen's going away. She called it a play date, which is another motherly expression that never made it into our home. And I'm hoping anyway, while Kristen's away, that girl Margaret will be at the pool, and I'll get a chance to meet with her. Well, it's visiting day, and I'm just thinking, are you going to come? Matu is wiping off the top shelf of the fridge with a paper towel. I'm standing in the doorway of the kitchen, watching her. And now I'm really thinking hard. The air conditioner kicks on, and the hum is like my brain working. I know I could tell my mom the truth. I can always tell my mom the truth. And I've never had a real friend, a best friend, not just a condo friend. I think partially it's because of my secret keeping. I think about having a best friend is that you don't have any more secrets. At least not from others, from each other. Most girls I know, even boys I know, have a really, really important friend that rises above all the others, who are just regular friends. It's the kid who always comes over after school. Sometimes they even have special sayings. The boys make up crazy handshakes, and the girls do each other's hair or dress alike on prearranged days, and they act in a conceited way because they're just such good friends. They are two girls in school who call each other twins, even though they look nothing alike. They aren't even sisters. So I hope I could tell my mom why I just want to stay home today, and she would understand. I just don't feel like explaining all of this to Matu. So I started to tell Matu that I have a big, huge book report due, which is the usual go-to excuse for everything. But then I remembered it's nearly the end of June, and a big, huge book report with a week left of school seems unlikely. The air conditioner quickly shuts off as it went on, and the room went dead silent. Mathieu closes the fridge door and looks at me. What is it? I saw something about migraines on the television news this morning, and it was the first thing that came to my head. So I said, I have a bad headache. And then, just to make sure, I added, and I think I have a little stomach ache. Bad move. Mathieu looked worried. Sickness is her best thing. She isn't so keen on things that hurt you that you can't see, but she's really good at taking your temperature and spooning out cough syrup, or setting a humidifier up and filling it with that nasty vapor rub. Well, it is going around. There's that summer virus, or maybe it's food poisoning. Some kind of parasite? What did you eat yesterday? Mathieu says. She looks worried and felt bad. Mathieu lost her husband when she was young, and he was still young too. They had been married for 5 years, and they had never had any children. He had died of a brain aneurysm, so whenever someone has a headache, I bet she thinks about her husband, Uncle Tom. And now I felt so terrible, because maybe I think it's working. No, I'm not that sick, I said quickly. Maybe I'm just tired. Ruby. Mathieu is holding her glasses in her hand and rubbing the indentions in her nose. Mathieu wears thick glasses, really thick glasses. When she takes them off, there's a deep groove in the bridge of her nose. I can't imagine holding up all that weight on my nose all day. Maybe that's why she always looks so worried. It's those heavy glasses. Maybe I should stay home with you, she said. No, I blurted out too fast. I'll be fine. I'll just lie on the couch and watch TV. I mean, a little TV. And I'll read. I finally got Mathieu to agree to leave me at home alone. And then, as soon as I watched the car pull out of the spot in the parking lot, space 102, like our house number, I really do get a stomach ache. And it's a horrible stomach ache. I watch Mathieu head out of the condo complex without me, and I'm all confused. Maybe I should run out to the parking lot after her, but it's too late. I feel like I'm losing my mother all over again. And there goes my heart, beating like crazy again. But I remember my mom told me, we don't have much time together, Ruby. So when we are all together, there's no pretending. I never want you to visit me and wish you were somewhere else. We don't have time for that. It just gives us more to talk about when you do come. So here I am, lying on my back, on my towel, in the grassy area that's surrounded on the concrete ledge of the pool, trying to figure out how to meet this new girl in our condo, when a shadow comes across my body, and I feel the heat of the sun disappear from my face. I open my eyes. Hey, I'm Margaret. Want to be friends? I sit up. Huh? I'm Margaret. I seen you watching me, so I thought maybe you might want to be friends. I wasn't watching you. Isn't a knee-jerking reaction. She sat down at the edge of my towel. Oh well, I thought you were. I'm Margaret. Today she's wearing a different bathing suit. A red one, like the lifeguard, but without a big white cross and without the wording. But you could get confused. I bet if you were drowning or something. I'm Rudy Danes, I answered, not sure why I just gave her my full name. Oh, cool, she says. Then she fell quiet. And that doesn't seem to bother her either. Like, it's okay to just sit here so close to each other on my towel and not talk. Which I suppose it is. Her black hair is wet and it shines, particularly glistening in the sunlight. We, we sit like that for a while, and then I'm wondering if I'll just wait like this, watching this girl's hair dry. I'm hot, I say after another beat or two. Margaret jumps in. Great, let's go to the pool. Chapter 14. I'm pretty sure that this awful feeling I have laying on the couch waiting for Mattu to get back from Bradford is known as extreme guilt. I also had to hide my bathing suit in my bottom drawer, turn on the water in the shower so it looked like I took a shower, because my hair is wet and there's no way that I could dry it before Mattu came home. Then, just as I hear the front door lock, I realize my hair smells like chlorine. Anyway, oh well, I don't have time to get in the shower and really wash my hair. Then I wouldn't be lying at least about one thing, but it was too late. Ruby, I'm back. Mattu walks in the living room and sits right down at the edge of the couch. Maybe she doesn't. How's Mom? I ask. Mattu shrugs. Did she ask about me? Of course she asked about you. I don't want to tell her you weren't feeling well. You know how upset she gets when she thinks you're sick. Oh, right. I don't want to think about that. Why I'm such a selfish person. What did you tell her? Mattu leans against the back of the couch. I told her you made a new friend at the pool and you wanted to hang out with her today. What? I looked at Mattu to see if I could see anything in her face that might give it away. But her glasses were so thick, like prisms. I couldn't tell if she tricked me. Does Mattu know? Did she know the whole time? I knew I would make my mother happy. I knew it would make my mother happy. She doesn't think you have enough friends, Mattu explained. Oh? That's all I said. Talk about ironic. I can't now suddenly tell the truth and tell Mattu I do have a new friend. But I do. And I have a new friend. At least, I think so. Margaret. We spent a whole hour at the pool. First, we had a tea party under the water, holding our breath, crossing our legs, and sitting at the bottom of the pool at the end of the shallow end, pretending to pour and sip our cup of tea. To be honest, I'm not sure what the point of it was, but it was fun. It was fun being with someone who just laughed so quickly and fully, like Margaret. I never laughed that easily, but with Margaret, I was howling. Just hearing her laugh made me laugh. A deep, full laugh, that kind that has life at the end of its own, that feels like you're floating in a tank of happiness. We dove for dimes and nickels, and I found in the bottom of my pool bag. We took turns being the ones to throw the coins, scattering and waiting for them to sink. 1, 2, 3, go! Shouted Margaret. And we both splashed into the water, trying to remember where the money settled at the bottom. We did cannonballs off the diving board and did this made-up thing where we called out our favorite dessert in midair before we hit the surface of the water. We played all sorts of games that Kristen would have thought were too babyish. Until I said I had to go home. Why? Margaret asked me. It's still early. It's still hot out. I had to go. I had to get back before Matthew got home from visiting. But I said I could stay a little longer, and a little longer, and then it was almost 4 o'clock. I really gotta go. Matthew never seemed to suspect anything. We ate dinner, and I go to bed early. She comes in and sits at the edge of my bed, like she has done every night since I told her my mother used to do that. The truth is that I had no idea if my mother used to do that or not. But it was one night, just a couple of weeks after we had just moved in to Mount Kisco, and I was scared. It was a new house, and I was starting the first grade. I was already forgetting my mother, and it had been so long, nearly a year, since she was arrested. So I just said that. I didn't know how else to ask. I told Matthew kind of an offhand like that. I think she was still my Aunt Barbara back then, but that my mother used to sit at the end of my bed until I fell asleep. Matthew was exhausted that night, I knew. She was a lot older than my mother, and besides, she was still unpacking our boxes, and she had started her new job, and she probably would have had a little kid around, and she wouldn't have used it, and she wasn't used to having a little kid around at the time. She sighed, and then she didn't say anything, and she sat down at the edge of my bed. Matthew didn't sing or tell any bedtime stories. She did sit there for a while, quietly, not saying anything. I remember that night peeking out every now and then to see if she was still there, and she was. Then the next thing I knew, it was the next morning. Now, all these years later, and Matthew comes in every night and sits down. She doesn't wait until I've fallen asleep anymore, but she sits down just for a minute or two, and we usually talk about the day, school, chores, or whatever else we have to do the next day. So, are you feeling better? Matthew's saying now. I almost forgot I'm supposed to have a headache. Yeah, I tell her. Matthew is looking at me to think it's because she can do something to tell if I have a headache or not, just by looking at my face. But she says, why don't we get you a haircut? A haircut? I've been growing my hair for so long. My goal is to see if I can get it to reach midway down my back. Or does Matthew smell the chlorine after all, and she was still find a way to punish me for not telling her the truth? Yes, a real haircut at a real fancy salon. You have such a pretty little face. You don't want so much hair overwhelming it. No, this is just one of those times Matthew thinks she's forgotten something, and maybe she's supposed to do it as my mother's stand-in. Matthew was one of those ladies Matthew was not one of those ladies who gets her fingernails painted pink, or gets her hair done once a week. But she thinks that if someone's girl is needed, she thinks something a girl needs to learn about. She means well, but I wanted to grow my hair. But I want to grow my hair, Matthew. Well, we could talk about that in the morning. She pats my feet, poking up under the covers. She stands up, trying to get some sleep. When she closes the door, I suddenly feel like crying. I miss my mother so badly, and I missed my chance to see her today. I can't go back and fix it now. My nose starts to tingle, and I get a burning in my throat. And I don't even know where it's coming from. I know I'm lucky. I know I have a safe place to live and people who care about me. I'm ungrateful and a double liar. Smile more, Matthew always tells me. When you smile, you feel better. It's another one of Matthew's famous sayings. So lying in the dark, I try to smile. I force my mouth to turn up in the corners. I think I'm smiling, and I wonder what my mother's doing. Is she in her cell right now? The steel bars pulled shut and locked. Maybe she's asleep. Maybe she's thinking about me. I try to smile, but I feel the wetness leaking from my eyes and dripping down my cheeks onto my pillow. I miss my mother so much. All right, everybody. So this story is getting pretty good. Miss Ruby's telling you a little about her life, a little about what's going on, what she's going through. So I can't wait to finish a couple more chapters with you guys next week. Please stay tuned. Miss Jessica will be coming on right after me, so we have some awesome things for you guys. Keep us in mind. Come back and see us. We miss you all, and we hope to see you guys again. For us here at Lucero Library, thanks again. Jerry V out. Peace.